Now, from the Columbia Basin, your local news source, this is iFIBER 1 News, presented in high definition. The #1 source for real-time local news, local sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. With your iFIBER 1 News team, reporting news in real time as it's happening. From the iFIBER Communications HD broadcast studio in Ephrata, Washington, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Welcome to iFIBER 1 News. I'm Sarah Brewer with your news from around the Columbia Basin for Friday, April 12th. Tonight, we'll review some of the top stories for this week, along with a few of your favorites. In sports, we'll tell you about a couple local athletes who were honored as WIAA Athletes of the Week, and another who signed a letter of intent to play college volleyball. And we have the latest weather forecast for the Columbia Basin from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center. Our top story this week, after being denied a retrial for the second time, David Nichols is in court to be sentenced for killing Ephrata's Sage Monroe. The iFIBER 1 News team is currently in Grant County Superior Court covering the sentencing. This story is not available to us yet, so keep an eye on our website at ifiber1.com or tune in on Monday. To review, Nichols had pled not guilty to the murder, and his defense attorneys argued another Ephrata man was responsible for Monroe's death. A jury disagreed and convicted Nichols of murder in the first degree in September, following a 2-month-long trial. His attorneys made 2 requests for a new trial, saying they had new evidence about their alternative suspect and made accusations of jury misconduct. Judge Evan Sperline denied both requests. For more on this story, visit us online at ifiber1.com. In another high-profile court case, accused 14-year-old shooter Nathan Brooks wants to see his parents. Brooks was charged with 2 counts of attempted murder for allegedly shooting his parents while they were sleeping in their Moses Lake home. His defense attorney told the court that Brooks would like to visit with his parents and that they would like to visit him at the juvenile detention center. Prosecutors argue against such visits because his parents are the victims of Brooks's reported crimes. A judge will hear from both sides on Monday and decide if the parents can visit their son. A camping trailer near Ephrata exploded after a couple tried to light a stove to keep warm. Both occupants were severely injured from the explosion early Tuesday morning, and the subsequent fire destroyed the trailer. A man and woman were living in the camping trailer at the Pacific Springs RV Resort on SR 28. Both were inside at the time of the explosion, but managed to escape with severe but non-life-threatening injuries. The Moses Lake City Council was presented with some volunteers who were given recognition for their work. Here with a story is Ryan Lancaster.
Volunteerism was on display at the Moses Lake Council meeting Tuesday. Ernie Lang and Andy Martin were recognized for donating hundreds of pounds of salvaged and processed meat to the Moses Lake Food Bank. Local outdoors writer Dennis Clay said they're doing a big service for people in need who often have a hard time getting fresh game. The men volunteered to process fish, deer, and other game provided by the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, food that Captain Chris Anderson says would have otherwise been wasted.
When I came here 15 years ago, we had no way of disposing of animals that were either stuck in the canals or poached.
Food Bank Finance Manager Scott Kilpatrick commended the men for processing as much as 1,200 pounds of meat over the years.
What community is each one of us having special skills and talents that we can bring to the table to help our neighbors in need. And you two have exemplified bringing your skills and talents to our table. And because of that, you've brought a lot of meat to the table of people that otherwise couldn't afford to buy meat. So thank you.
Moses Lake Mayor Bill Ekert also read a proclamation recognizing April 21 through 27 as American Red Cross National Volunteer Appreciation Week. Local Red Cross volunteers accepted the proclamation before inviting residents to attend a volunteer orientation at the Grant County Fairgrounds Grange Hall next Tuesday, April 16 at 5 p.m. For iFIBER 1 News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
Thanks, Ryan. The Moses Lake School District has been collecting public input to solve with issues within the school district, such as overcrowding. Here with the story is Spencer Graham.
The Moses Lake School Board last night discussed the issue of overcrowding in secondary schools, although nothing was decided. District officials held the final public meeting on the issue last month, telling the audience the school board would issue a final decision within a few weeks. On Thursday, Superintendent Michelle Price gave the board a detailed analysis of student inventory, square footage of school facilities, and other information regarding the issue.
You know, we've heard a lot of things. There have been a lot of hurtful things that have been said. We've, had a lot of blaming and pointing fingers, and yet on the other hand, a lot of people recognizing that, you know what, we have a crowding issue.
One of the 4 solutions being considered by the board is to close the alternative school program at Columbia Basin Secondary and turn it into another middle school, something many community members are against.
We think that these 4 options, while only one of them truly eliminates crowding, 2 of the others do alleviate crowding.
The meetings on the issue started last summer after the failure of a $115 million bond that would have funded a new high school and 2 new elementary schools. The district is in the process of forming another long-range planning committee to look at how to address overcrowding in the next 10 to 20 years, likely through another bond. The board plans to meet again in 2 weeks after each member has had a chance to review the information given. For iFIBER 1 News, this is Spencer Graham reporting.
Thank you, Spencer. Each of the people you see here has warrants for their arrest and is wanted by various law enforcement agencies. If you see any of these people, the DOC asks that you do not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but to call the police. You can also call the Department of Corrections at 509-764-6180 during the day or 509-762-1160 after 5 p.m. We'll be back after these messages with the latest from our iFIBER 1 Weather Center, sports, and more news.